Top 10 most dangerous animals in Florida. Before anybody panics, I know a lot of you are moving here, thinking about moving here. Keep in mind that at the end of this video, I will tell you what you really should worry about. And number one are spiders. Yes, we have poisonous spiders. We have the brown recluse and southern black widows. Before you panic again, let me tell you, in 8 years, I did not have a spider in the house. If you own your own house, it's very important to treat your outside. If you do that, you won't have the insects coming inside. If you live next to a wooded lot like we did, we had one wooded lot next to us, across from us, and behind us. While it's very nice to have nature surrounding us, we had to make sure that we treated the grass, we treated around the windows, around the edges of the house, just to keep all the spiders and insects in the woods where they belong. If you're not walking through the woods, you're not going to have a whole lot to worry about if you treat around your home. Most businesses, apartment buildings also treat their buildings. So when you're looking for an apartment, check Google reviews, make sure people aren't complaining about bugs, because if they are, that means they're not treating their apartment. Apartment that we're in, there's not a single insect in sight. They actually came into our apartment and sprayed around the kitchen, underneath the sink, and the bathrooms, but mostly outside, and they agreed with me, if you spray outside, the insects don't come inside. I'll tell you a quick story about our air conditioning guy in Southwest Florida. He was working on an air conditioner. I don't know where he was, but he says these brown recluses hide in corners, and I don't know where he was, but it bit his ankle, and it pretty much put a hole into the area of where his ankle was. He was very lucky to still have his foot and ankle intact, but it left him a big mark there. And so that's the story about spiders. As long as you spray, or you can do it organically, a lot of people do it that way, and you'll be able to keep those spiders away. But keep an eye out for them, because we have seen them hanging from our garage door. Of course, we spray inside our garage, but they came right to the garage door. I think they were half dead because we had sprayed around the garage door, but still, just keep an eye out for them. Believe it or not, Florida black bears is number 2. Unfortunately, these poor bears get hit by cars when they come out of the woods, but if you're not in the woods, you're not going to get attacked by a bear or spiders or anything like that. These black bear are actually rare and endangered, so it's important to be careful when you're driving that you don't hit any wildlife. The next most dangerous animal is the shark. Before you start thinking about Jaws, the great white is rarely seen in this area. But there are shark out there, and it's important to know that they do come out early morning and late at night, so we try to avoid those times. In 2013, Florida has had the most unprovoked shark attacks. There was 23, but in all of the whole world, there was 10 deaths of shark attacks, and none of them were in Florida. Then you have the American alligator. Again, do not panic. They don't come after you normally unless there's babies around. So stay away from the ponds and the rivers. That's my opinion. People go swimming in those rivers, and there's alligators in there, so you won't find me in the rivers or the lakes. I did not know that there were also crocodiles here in Florida until this year. I found out. I watched something on the news, and they were showing how they were dragging a crocodile away off the beach. So I was a little shocked by that. But most crocodiles live in the most southern tip of Florida. I mentioned this in another video, where in the Everglades, it's the only place in the whole world where you'll have crocodiles and alligators coexisting in the same area. I think that's amazing. Again, if you're not walking through the Everglades and you're not in the ponds and rivers, you don't have to worry a whole lot, because you will see the alligators around at grocery store, ponds, at the college, at your library. They're there. They won't come out and attack you. It would be a rare event if it ever happened. Just stay away from the ponds and the rivers if you have small pets and children. Better to be safe than sorry. Now, alligators have a wider and rounder snout, and the crocodiles are more pointed, if you were wondering what the difference was. Then you have snakes. There's 6 poisonous types of snakes, but where we lived, I only saw the black snake, and I showed it to you in one of our videos. They're not poisonous. They come out of the woods. They like water. Most snakes like water. Again, we don't walk through deep woods, so I don't run into anything too dangerous. Now, there are pythons in the Everglades and surrounding, and they have no idea how many there are out there. They said somewhere between 5,000 and 180,000 snakes, pythons. So that goes to show you we have no idea how many are out there. Most were released by owners of these snakes when they got too big to handle. So they took them out, and that's not good because now they're multiplying. And then some of those pythons escaped from the zoo during Hurricane Andrew. So they're out there too. Again, I haven't seen a python. I don't worry about them. Then we have the wild boar. They're 300 pounds about, give or take. And they will attack. They're aggressive, so especially when they have their babies around. So don't go up to the cute little piggy on the side of the road, because you'll see them if you're taking a drive through one of those parks, beautiful parks that Florida has, and you see them on the side. We've seen them, and you do not want to go up to them. They are actually pigs, domesticated pigs originally, that came from Spain, and the Spaniards brought them over, and some got away, and then they became wild. And then, of course, they're going to be more aggressive if they have to protect their own. Then you have fire ants. And I'll tell you a story of mine. When we first moved to Florida, we had a car delivered down here, and I was waiting off the sidewalk on the grass. Big mistake. Don't stand in grass unless you know it's been treated. So I'm standing there with my sandals, and I start feeling like burning and biting, and I look down and my feet are just full of fire ants. I was standing on a hill, a fire ant hill. That was not good. Ever since then I knew better, and I didn't stand in grass, and I didn't stand on fire ant hills. But I told my boy when we moved to our house, he was younger back then, I said, don't go into the woods. I said, there's ants out there. He didn't listen. He went to go play in the woods like boys do, and he came back in running with fire ants all over him. We had to strip him right down in the kitchen. He had jumped in the shower, get him off. So he got bit pretty good. Thankfully he wasn't allergic, because some people can be allergic to fire ants, and it can be deadly if you are, just like bee stings. You gotta be real careful. And again, he went into the woods another time. This was the last time he ever did it. And he was attacked by, I think they were carpenter ants. He had them all over him. He didn't get bitten, thank God, but there must have been like 1,000 ants. They were all over my kitchen, because he came in and it was just all over him. So again, he stripped. But he learned his lesson after the second time, not to go play in the woods. Then the next most dangerous animal is the jellyfish. So you want to watch out for those. They say sometimes you don't have any symptoms if they were to sting you. Some might, feel it and hurts a little bit, and then some can be deadly. So I'm not sure if it matters what kind of jellyfish, or if it depends on how, like, if you're allergic. I don't know. But that's what I was reading, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Then you have some big fish, like the barracuda. They normally just eat fish, and they will take chunks of meat out of the fish. So if they think you're a fish for some reason, if you have a shiny diamond ring and they think that you're a fish, and you have to, be careful with that too. It's nice when I have Rick around and he puts his goggles on, and Noah too. They go under to see what's around us, because I don't really go under when we're out in the Gulf of Mexico, but they put their goggles on and they're always looking around to see. But usually it seems like there's nothing, no fish, nothing when we're in there. So we haven't had any excitement as far as sea life, other than the time that we were in the Gulf of Mexico, and I've told you this story before, where our kids and me, we were out in the water, and I saw all these people coming out, running out of the ocean and onto the beach, and I was like, oh my God, there must be like a shark, what's happening? As soon as I was thinking that, I got bit on the butt, kind of on the side there, and it was a crab. It was hanging off of me, and I couldn't get it off, because I had to pull it, but there was a bunch of crabs. It was a school of crabs, I guess, and they were all up and down the coast. So I didn't go back in the water the rest of that day, but that was just one time in all the years that I've gone into the water. So yes, I will go back into the water. I'm not afraid to go in there. So those are the top 10 most deadly animals you need to watch out for in Florida. But just so you know, and I know most of you know this, The number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease. So that's what you need to worry about. Stay healthy. You know what to do. I don't need to tell you to exercise and eat healthy, but heart attacks, heart disease, that's the number one cause. Look it up if you don't believe me. And the last other thing that you should worry about when coming to Florida, and it's not the top 10 deadly animals in Florida, and it's not the hurricanes or sinkholes or even lightning, which they can all happen, but car accidents. That's what I worry about down here in Florida. There's quite a few, and I don't even want to say down here in Florida because when we're traveling across the country, we saw car accidents everywhere. I just think there's more cars on the road. And people are texting and they're eating and they're sewing and they're doing all kinds of things other than driving. So that's what I worry about, car accidents. And especially during tourist season, it gets really crowded down here. And I see accidents every day. At least I did in Southwest Florida during snowbird season from November to May. So just be careful when you move down here, when you come to vacation. Watch out for traffic. That's the one thing I think we should all worry about, and try to be careful. Don't text and drive. You know what to do. Don't drink and drive. That's a given, right? I hope you like this video. Thumbs up. Please share. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to live a passionate life.